Welcome to the Christmas pod, our second podcast, and you can view the first podcast on YouTube if you search Benchmark Surveys Podcast. I'd like to welcome our guest, Tom Grant from Subsurface Measurement Technology.
Hello.
How you doing? Anthony Foster from Screening Eagle Technologies. Long journey down for them, so appreciate you coming down. Thanks for coming down. And my brother, Seb, who, if you watched the first one, you would have heard all about him.
Top
we can go through.
Top trumps.
Love it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, so we're going to start with Tom. Go through really just when you came out of school. What did you think you would do, and was it ever going to be this?
I don't think I knew really. Actually, when I was that young, it's a few years ago now. I actually, like during school, wanted to join the RAF. That didn't quite happen. Just because they stopped recruiting for the role that I was interested in. So sort of bumbled around a bit, tried to figure out what I'd do. I did work experience as a chef for about 3 days before I cut the end of my finger off. So then decided that I'd do that as a profession. So I went to college and I trained to be a chef for 2 years. So I guess that's what I wanted to do. Yeah.
Still do that or not? Still do enjoy cooking and that?
I don't enjoy it. I did it as like a job for 5 years, and it's proper hard graft.
Yeah.
Hot. But the most soul destroying bit is when you're cooking in the kitchen and you see your mates in the pub in the garden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Piss off.
Yeah.
It's a running theme, that. It's Mum trained to do that, didn't she?
Yeah, that's what she wanted to do.
Previous pod.
Mum wanted to be a chef.
Interesting.
Yeah.
About food poisoning. Go through the place when you were there.
No, I could actually do it. The thing that I don't think I persevered with it because I didn't get it. Like some chefs are proper into it.
Yeah.
And I was never
passionate as well, aren't they?
I was never always felt a bit like a fraud at college because there's one lad I think of in particular who I used to sort of envy in a way because he really he was into it. He loved it. He got all the flavors and everything.
Yeah.
And there was me. I was like, I can assemble a dish.
Yeah.
But it's about more than that. So yeah, it sort of fell away a little bit. But yeah.
Was that your first job then? Just come out learning on as you were doing it? And then...
Yeah, well, my first job was actually washing taxis at the age of 14, like a little slave, for probably about £2.50 an hour. But yeah, first proper job was a chef. Yeah.
Nice. I've seen as well. You've had some involvement in cancer charity work.
Yeah. I did that for 3 years. I was a trustee. I wanted to get involved in a way, and I couldn't quite figure out how. And went to go and see him, and then ended up doing a bit of trustee work. Yeah, so it's fairly kind of informal.
Right.
Meeting a couple of times a month and bits and bobs. The charity at the time was going for a bit of a turbulent period. I won't mention the charity because, but yeah, I sort of saw it through that, and then Subsurface Measurement Technology came along, and that took most of my time up to try and get that going. So yeah, sort of left. I'll go back, I think, and do a bit more. But yeah.
Do you find it? We're discussing it earlier. You kind of fall into surveying. I think everyone. I'm not sure anyone's ever, or recent years anyway, thought I want to be a land surveyor, and they've or I want to do utility mapping, and then they just go into that profession. Coming from obviously being a chef and then doing taxis cleaning and then cancer work, did you ever see yourself going into underground specialist mapping?
It was never a path, if you know what I mean.
No.
I don't know how many people nowadays have a path. Do you know what I mean? Some folks when they're at school, they're like, I want to be a doctor.
Yeah.
And they go, they take the right qualifications and they go to medical school and they become a doctor. Whereas, I think the most of us sort of trying to find our way a little bit. I take my hat off to anyone that knows that early. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I fell into this same as anyone. You know what I mean? I kind of found an opportunity, heard about radar, got excited by it. I can see into the ground, and no one else can see into the ground unless they understand this radar data.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was interesting, and kind of fell into it that way. It was through the pub, actually. That's how I got into it. But met someone who owned the other half of the pub that I worked in at that time. Their other business was selling and supporting radars, and they got me in, and I did a bit with them. And
what radars was that?
IDS, the Opera Duo, before it was a Leica DS2000. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Nice.
And the Detector Duo, which is the old golf buggy one.
Yeah.
Proper hardcore old school radar.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's older school radars. There's some of the elders within the industry would like to disclose, but yeah, that was the one that I was sort of looking after at that point.
How does the pub conversation get into radar? Try and just find a body.
That is an intellectual pub if I've ever.
I don't know really. I don't recall the conversation. I don't know. You talk about all sorts of nonsense in the pub though, don't you? That's
yeah. So it's probably really late on, and you've remembered it somehow.
Yeah.
Farmer Bill's buried that body. Let's go find it.
Yeah. I don't remember. Yeah.
So what was so you came out, obviously you didn't go straight into SMT, wasn't built then, so were you at SCCS?
I did short of a couple of years with the first guys, drill line it was.
Drill line, okay.
Yeah. And then Hexagon came along and got involved with the industry in terms of the subsurface segment and bought IDS and SCCS and M&P and some other companies, I think, all in one sort of fell swoop. And they had a knowledge gap basically at SCCS, so I moved across to those guys and helped out there. Took over from a guy that was doing a bit of it, but sort of doing some other bits and bobs as well. So that I looked after the subsurface segment there. Did 3 years with them, and then it kind of got a bit more corporate than it was when I was first involved. And I'm not a corporate man.
No,
I quite like progression in a kind of an efficient manner, if you know what I mean.
We've literally just had one of our surveyors that he left to go to the corporate world and thought progression was the end goal and that he was going to be right at the top. Yeah. Just saw the light of day and just thought, nah, this is just not.
Organisation gets to a certain size, and there's so many layers of management.
Yeah,
I think you guys are quite lucky actually, because it is a corporate organisation, but there's transparency from let's say band 5 up to band 1. You know what I mean? You can have you can communicate with everyone, but certain companies they like to put a barrier there, so to get a decision to ultimately help you guys, if you're stuck on site and we need to get a bit of kit to you or something like that, to get that decision, yes, we'll send it, you've got to go through, and it just takes time. I'm not a fan of that. So anyway, I kind of the guy that owned the company sold the company, and sort of my loyalty was with him. He kind of got moved sideways out, and I ended up sort of looking around thinking, well, I don't really want to bounce from one company to another, trying to find somewhere to fit in, because most of the other companies were sort of fairly sizable as well. What do I do? So I ended up having a conversation with a colleague, former colleague. He had moved on from SCCS, Drew. He's now my business partner. We're a few jars in outside a tequila bar in Stuttgart at 3 a.m. in the morning, and he went, yeah, we should have a conversation when we're not pissed. So we did that after the show, and the rest is history. We started that in February 2020.
Magical time to start.
Yeah.
Straight
1 month before.
Straight into COVID.
Yeah, that was.
How did you find that then? So you're starting off, everything's exciting, and then boom, world pandemic.
Oh yeah, I mean, at the time I was thinking, why have I done this? What's going on? It wasn't as turbulent as I think we all thought it might be, being sort of construction facing, because we carried on really. We had that month, didn't we, where it was a proper lockdown. But then we just sort of carried on, and it was more difficult than it would have been had there not been COVID, but there was still work there, and there was still a demand. And I think subsurface segment is so niche.
Yeah.
There's not that many people that do it. So there was a need there. So, yeah. And the way we set up the business was, I was kind of supported in the first instance quite well. So there was a guarantee of, getting some money.
Yeah.
It was just a case of I had to then go and sell the bits and bobs and, build up the business, to pay the salary. But, So, it worked quite well in that respect, but it was scary, but we got through it.
You sold me one.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Do
No?
you want another?
Maybe in the future.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a bit further on to what SMT does. You've been chopping and changing recently, names and things like that, and then your directive seems to be on launching maybe some GPR modules and training things. And I think we had a discussion earlier about just how poor the industry is on training in general. And I think it's something we've banged our heads about, even coming from the land surveying side of it. Now I've been doing utilities for a while, but even the land surveying side of it, the training really needs to catch up. And it's probably a lot of the reason why a lot of people aren't coming into the industry is that the first people who ask me now, the first thing is what training am I getting, or what qualification am I getting? And I think utilities is one of those scary things where you say, you're just going to learn on site, or you're going to learn in there. But you kind of think we need some backing, really, don't you, from the industry?
Yeah, I mean, it's like the father-son training type thing. You just, but is he doing it right? You just follow what you taught by the previous person, and then that gets passed on from generation to generation. So yeah, there is I mean, you see it more than, I see it a lot. You probably see it more than me. The lack of GPR knowledge, which we'll probably talk about in great depth.
I think that though, with GPR knowledge is something that I've openly spoken about, how much more knowledge I need within the GPR. I'm not a geophysicist. I go out, trace utilities. I think I do it well. I think we do it well. Good reputation now and things like that. But that support from when you buy it and then going on the training modules, it's then if I'm not fully understanding it, like you've said, then I am passing that knowledge on as much as I can to the people below me who might not get everything, and it's getting less and less as you pass it along.
Well, that's the point. We're SMT. I've been watching the industry for a while, obviously having been in it, and you kind of observe, where there are good parts, where there are bad parts, and for me, we've got all the utility mapping training, which is good. There are some good providers out there, but isn't perfect. And GPR is a big element of every survey. We know we've got the problem where people are asking for GPR surveys and they need to be educated, and that's fine. But internally, us lot, the GPR training just isn't there. It's kind of a collective responsibility, but someone's got to kind of own it and champion it, and that's what we're looking at doing, and it's what we've been doing the last year. So Adam Cook, our technical manager, he spent the last year writing training courses, which we're going to hit the market with next year, hopefully in a big way. We're going to go into partnership with Construction Skills Training Academy, so there'll be fully accredited courses. But it's about understanding more about how the thing works, but also understanding how to do a survey in the different ways that you can do a survey. In the context of utilities, you've got the arbitrary kind of style, spray and go. Then you've got positioned, but there's two types of positioning. And I'm willing to bet half of the GPR operators out there don't know how to use a total station. So if they have got to collect you know what I mean? So it's covering all of that. And then you've got the post-processing, so we can deliver quality level P surveys, that have been gone through and explaining how to extract that deliverable, but that just doesn't exist. It doesn't exist in the industry at the minute. So, we're going to go fundamentals is actually going to be understanding the history of GPR, and how to when to use it, understanding dielectric constant propagation velocity, the science a bit more, and then we're going to go to specific use case training. So, utilities, practical training, understanding how to do data collection with GPS, total station, and then post-processing, again, use case specific, which will teach you how to process, but not just run the data into a post-processing software and it does all the filters, explain what the filters do, what the different filters do, why we apply them, how that's going to enhance the data, when not to apply filters. And then after that comes picking your features and then making sure you get good quality, positioning, everything else. It's quite a long process. And as you say, at the minute, it's internal training from companies that have got the capability of doing it. But
it's technical work,
commercially speaking, you don't have time to do training because you've got to, you fit it in, but you know what I mean? You're trying to deliver on projects. So if there's someone out there that you can send all that, outsource that stuff to, then it's gonna be better for everyone. And that's what we're trying to get to, is just flood the industry with a bit more knowledge. And Adam's the guy that can do that. So
I think we found that though, maybe like in the underground utility kind of sector, it's everyone keeps their cards very close to their chest, and nobody shares anything. It's I found this, you haven't found that type industry, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? It's I find that training like that is it's brilliant. To come out with.
That's what you need. And then I think even then having that bit of knowledge to pass it on then to clients and things like that. I think there's a lot of people going out maybe not completing the surveys to the standard or different standards and things like that, and then the client doesn't really know their expectations. Their knowledge of the survey industry is pretty poor, I think. The whole side. But
I think a lot of people are scared to explain limitations. They think, that people are going to think, the equipment's useless, or every piece of equipment's limited. If you use a Cat and Jenny for a full locate, you're going to be limited. Even if you just use EML, you're limited to conductive objects. You just use GPR, or if somebody gets in touch, say, can I have a GRP survey? Good luck with that, guys. You need to use every tool available, and it's like, I don't think people fully, if the person at the top of the tree that gets the finished product doesn't know what they've got in front of or how it was achieved, like how did somebody find this gas map? Or why couldn't they find it? This is the reason why. And then if maybe some of those sort of people should attend some basic locating knowledge training, just to be like, I could go and do a past survey tomorrow, deliver the drawer and have it all laid
manage
up.
Expectations a little bit better.
And I could have I could deliver a survey with B1s all over, and they think, God, this guy's amazing. He gets top level on everything. It's like, but you would get my drawer and go, how's he got a B1 on a plastic water main? How's he done that? But the end user would be like, this guy's brilliant. Oh, I ordered a B1 survey, he's delivered a B1 survey. It's like,
we had one the other week, and it was a B4 saying we can't get into the area, just can't go in. The rang up, they said, we're digging down the B4, we can't sit in the location. And we was like, you haven't read what it means. It's drawn from stat. Like, we can't get into the area. You're looking for something that hasn't been found. Like, that's just basic information. You ask for what the survey 2 PAS 128, and they just don't have the knowledge of what B1, B2, B3 or B4 knows. And I think that's as industry professionals, that we need to be teaching as we're going along, really. I don't know if that's our job to do it, but it seems like it's becoming that job to do it, because people just don't know what they're asking for half the time.
I think there should be an element of duty of care, I suppose, if not to be too impolite, but a stupid person doesn't know they're stupid. So like, if they don't know, they don't know, but then you should assist them along the way. But then there's a lot of false truths said about what can be done, what can be achieved, time scales. Like we spoke about it earlier, like on a school field, why, if somebody's requested an M4P survey, why would you not have that part of your brain say, you don't need that on the field? We've checked the stats, there's nothing there. We'll obviously grid it because we need to, but we'll do an M1 and we'll do an M4 in the highly likely areas of utilities. It's like, and then is that people abusing? I don't know. There's too many grey areas within. But if the end user doesn't know what they're getting and they just pay for a survey, and it's got some pretty lines.
Exactly. It is a lot of copy and paste, though, isn't the industry, isn't it? It's like, that was my spec here on Oxford Street in London. This school field with no utilities in it must have the same, because it was done well at that time. But I think it needs to be changed between each site.
I want the car with the leather seats and everything, rather than just, I don't actually need that today.
No.
Yeah.
With SMT, is there anything else that you're excited about or are you?
Yeah, so we there might be a new locator coming into the market next year. So we're in conversations at the minute with a company, a manufacturer in America, who have come out with something pretty good, slightly different. Fundamentally, it does the same thing that they all do, but it's got a couple of extra cool features which will help efficiency on site, but also understand a bit more about what's going on with different frequencies, and potentially things like resistance you're getting against a frequency when you're trying to induce that onto a service. Right. So some information that is available on locators, but it's kind of a bit more hidden away. So yeah, we're going to be bringing that to the market next year. Hopefully, that'll be good. I think that'll raise a few eyebrows. But yeah, I was hoping to have it here, but it didn't quite work out.
No,
because we're at very early stages of the conversation at the minute. But
could have built the curtain.
Yeah,
I could just flipped it on then.
It does look cool if that helps.
Are we allowed colours?
There's substance behind the aesthetic. So
the colour theme.
Colour theme. It's kind of like a sort of bright metallic-y turquoisey colour. It's good.
Nice.
It's good. They've thought about it, basically. They thought about maybe what's missing from locators at the minute, because there are two main locators for precision locating, I guess, which are sort of widely available on the market, but yeah,
it's a tough nut to crack. The locating game of the EML stuff is they've got it locked down. So if it's, I know everyone comes to market with it's what they say, it's like groundbreaking, or it's going to
they always say
amazing terminology.
It's
game changer.
Game changers.
Game changers.
But yeah, if disruptive.
You wait till your poster comes out now. It'll just be you holding it, disruptive, written across.
And you'll put some on LinkedIn. I'm going to disrupt the disruptor.
Oh my God.
Yeah. We all know those guys.
Yeah, we do, yeah.
I don't think I've ever used that language. Now someone on LinkedIn is going to go through all my posts.
Find game changer.
Disrupt 2011. Yeah. Wang it into ChatGPT. Search this profile for that word.
You've already given everyone ideas now.
Yeah, I reckon I could do that.
Used it.
No, I used Game Changer the other day, and I was just like, why did I say it? But it's one of the lads hates it at work. Absolutely rinses it, so he'll pick me out for that. Right, Anthony.
Hello.
How did you get into surveying? Where did it all start?
It was a September afternoon in 2003. Genuinely, I'd finished college and I was at a crossroads of further education or hide for a period of time and be kept okay with my parents not saying, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You're still in the house.
Yeah.
So I applied for a job in the newspaper. So my brother he was already in surveying. He was doing utility surveying at another firm. And in the local paper, there was an advert for a surveyor. And I thought, that's what he does. He's back at lunchtime every day. Amazing.
Do people still do that? Apply for job adverts in newspapers?
I said it in 2003. Sorry. Showing my age now. So the internet did exist. And
you just had to go down to the library.
Dial up.
Yeah. So, I applied for it. Was hoping really not to get it. It was just to apply for a job, to just say, look, I'm applying. And then they got in touch, went on for a day, walked around with people with tripods for a day. I was like, well, I suppose I can give this a go. Did land surveying for a year with a little bit of utilities. And then because I was the trainee there, everything fell on your lap, that it was like you were a bit of the skivvy at the same time. And I had a bit of a chip on my shoulder. I was like, no, I'm better than this. And I like the problem solving side of the utilities over doing the land surveys. So the company my brother was at needed people. So I applied there, got the job, went okay for about a year. And then they dissolved the local office. I was the last one in there. Maybe everyone left after I joined because of me. I don't know. But then another company I knew of locally had not long been going. And then, I joined there in 2005 and left back end of 22. So
it's a long time, isn't it?
Yeah.
Long commitment.
Very long time.
Good.
Yeah.
you can get less for some serious grass.
So you must have enjoyed it to stay that long.
Yeah, I think it's the you meet a lot of people, and because I mean, I've got nothing against people who go into academia or anything, but you meet people that have fallen into a job like yourself. I've always said, like, it's a band of brothers type mentality. Like, if you're willing to rod a foul drain with somebody, like, you're willing to do a lot.
Yeah.
So, within reason.
Yeah.
So I enjoy.
What happens in the foul drain?
Yeah, innuendo somewhere there.
It is gruesome though, isn't it? I remember that I was on it last week, and the guys doing CCTV. We're down at one of the MOD sites at the moment.
Yeah,
and these guys walking around are large, like big men, and I was CCTVing all their drains, and they didn't want it jetting before, and the guy's better at coding, so I was just like, I'll just do it, and I was rodding, and I was just.
Protein.
They eat a lot of protein, and it's just by the end of the day, I was just like, do I really need to do this?
I was walking by, smug look on my face, because I was just tracing, and you were doing all the drainage. So I was like,
the first one, like,
yeah.
But saying that, every time I got a new assistant or a new trainee, I would make sure on that first day I would be the one doing the rodding.
Yeah,
because I thought, I'm going to level it, because this can never be thrown back that I've ever asked you to do something I'm not willing to do. And when I was the assistant, I got a lot of you got a lot of the rough end of the stick, because it was like, you're the assistant, you do this work. I changed it. I wanted to be, because I hated it, and it made me pretty wound up. So I was like, I'll change it. I'll be the nice guy, and then maybe that might have worked against me towards the end, because maybe people saw me as like this. As I said earlier, I turned into like Dear Deirdre by the end, that I was more of an agony aunt than a manager. Which I still speak to them people still ring me. I've not been in surveying in the inner circle for 2 years, and I'll still get messages of pictures of like things off petrol stations of what's this, mate? Like, do you realise I've not worked with you for years now? So I miss certain parts, but I loved some of it. Yeah, some of it's fantastic. It was some of the best years. There was some glory years during the surveying, and like you were touring around the country.
Yeah.
Sometimes on the stairways, you probably should have not stayed in the pub so late, but
yeah.
That was good. I do miss it.
What about your brother then? Is he still in it?
Yeah, he's a director at another company quite local. So yeah, he owns a business with 2 other guys. So keep in touch with them quite a bit.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Sell him kit.
Funnily enough, no. I assist them in other aspects of like knowledge, but then it's like, well, are you going to buy something?
Yeah. I'll tell you that if you buy a GPR off me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tough one there. Some people, in land surveying, there's red boxes, there's yellow boxes. Why do you use the red box one? Don't know. Why do you use the other one? Don't know. And it's a little bit. Sometimes that with GPR, it's just that people all use it, and they're not all the same. There's different tech. There's different. Some are better than others. Some are better for different applications. There's not like a one box ticks all type device. If there was, I think somebody would be a very, very rich person.
Until he gets his new locator out.
Yeah, that does everything, doesn't it? That finds non-metallic.
So start doing that.
Yeah, one day maybe they might buy one. They will. They always tell me they will, but we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah. What do you prefer? You've kind of gone in a different way now into like the and tech support sales kind of area. What do you prefer? Are you happy you're away or?
Yeah, 20 years is a long time to do something, or just under 20 years. And it was, I think I just burnt myself out. I got too het up on minor things within a specification document that some people sat nicely in a grey area and it's like, well, could have, and it was like, no. So I burnt myself out mentally on that. And I like sitting on the fence now and looking in at it's almost like you're in the stands at the Coliseum now, watching whatever goes on down there. But then other times it's nice. I miss the day-to-day interaction. Like you've got camaraderie between a bunch of lads. Maybe I'm a bit old for it now, but you miss that. That I miss.
It can be a little bit lonely doing sort of what we do, because you can end up sort of, you talk to people a lot, don't you? But you kind of, there's not that team thing where you're necessarily
not seeing them all the time, are you?
Every day going out on site.
Yeah, you turn up, oh, he's here again, rather than...
I don't have time for this. As you come in the door, I have a few people like that who come in unannounced.
You end up just speaking because it's like, I haven't spoken to anyone for 3 days. But it's there's certain aspects of it I miss, but then on the other side of it, it's great to see it from the other angle, that when you're in the whole surveying world, you are in your own bubble of what your company does and how you do things. And then when you see it from the other side, and then you see like how other countries approach it, it's like, okay, we've got issues over here, but they're not as bad as some places.
No.
I mean, there's some countries around Europe where they won't do any locating, and there'll be a team of like 6 guys just all watching the bucket of the JCB. Like, it's probably be cheaper just to get someone to spray all this stuff out than have 6 people watching. So yeah.
I think that was my next question, was how, obviously there's quite a bit of travelling now for both of you, really.
Yeah.
How do you see the industry, obviously our industry compares to others? I think I just went on a recent trip to America, probably geospatial side, more like the land surveying side really, and a bit of 3D laser scanning. But the contrast of how we work compared to Americans is so different. How do you find like the GPR side of it in the UK compared to other world countries?
It's good that we acknowledge, like it's never going to remove any, other technology. You need both. Well, you need more than both, but it's never going to replace like EML stuff. You need both. They're like husband and wife at times. It's interesting because lots of nations still follow like the ABCD rule, like we have for your confidence ratings. But then I don't know, did we do it because we're British? We thought we'll take this and then we'll just complicate it even more. Like put in numbers and then even other categories for like grid sizes and stuff. Like we made it complicated, but then we made it that there are loopholes, but then your confidence there, like you can put a rating on confidence, then you can grade it with like accuracies. With other nations, like on a type B, there'll be literally no depth. So you'll have fantastic spray marks. So you think, well, I can see that because you're not liable if something's at a wrong depth. But then if somebody's going to be breaking out, would you not like to know if it is approximately like half a metre deep or something like? So yeah, some nations are really, really good. Some nations, they won't even really acknowledge GPR above a type D.
Right.
So, well, you've got this $20,000, $30,000 bit of kit or whatever currency. I'm not going to give away the country. Other currencies are available. So they won't acknowledge it higher than a D, and it's like, well,
it just comes down to the training again, doesn't it? Because GPR isn't like a mystical art that only a few people can do. It's just more about exposing the background behind it and understanding the what you're looking at, which is is manual interpretation, is a visual thing, but it's just commitment from the individual or the industry or the country or whatever behind getting to know that technology. It's like, it's the same as anything, you know what I mean? There's plenty of other technologies out there that are sort of new, not necessarily in the surveying segment.
I mean, some people want to try and remove that human interpretation of the data, and it's like
into like AI stuff.
Yeah, but we're not. No one's reinventing the wheel. Like the technology has been around for decades. Yeah, they're easier to use and they're easier to navigate, and you've got more, functions, features, whatever you want to go for. But fundamentally, you still need to know how to look at a ray diagram.
You could have a data set processed with AI, but someone's still got to QA that, which ultimately means they're processing it again anyway.
Yeah.
So what is the Yeah, well, it's a bit quicker process of manually looking, and everything's already picked, and maybe delete some things.
Yeah,
I think that.
Well, I always feel like you're gaining knowledge though when you're do so much post processing now and going through. I always feel like I've gained a little bit more knowledge the more I look, and the more I look, and you
build up like a background library, don't you?
Yeah, exactly.
How things look in different grounds.
I think if you go with AI, you're just going to be. I think maybe roles reversed. I would say your knowledge is you're just going to be relying on that. Basically, you're just going to be like, haven't got time to do this, so AI just do it for me.
You get to that stage where you've got some companies out there, going back to what we were saying earlier on, outside of this, where they're bowling around with a laser scanner doing a survey, but actually they don't know what they're doing other than just picking it out of the point cloud rather than doing the actual survey. Therefore the quality is going to drop. So I think the software houses that are doing the software for GPR, or the GPR manufacturers themselves, have got to be careful. In my opinion, I think it's a fine line to walk. And most people you talk to that have looked at AI stuff with GPR in the scheme of utilities say we don't use it because it picks up false positives all the time. So
that's the issue. I think if you've got actually out on site in the field, like a user, and they're relying, a lesser trained individual might just rely on the AI. If they've not got it turned up on like the sensitivity on it or whatever they have for the gain on these AI things, is like, are they going to? It's like one of those. The painting actually has got two paintings, like depending on how you look at it. So is the AI finding everything? Is it not? I see a place for the AI side of things in post-processing, that if you could, let's say you wanted just the AI to remove anything that would have the characteristic of like a tree root. So it's not going to be, if you're only looking for utilities and the AI knows, okay, so you don't waste time going through all, and that you might just be a tree root map and that's all you want. You don't want anything that's all metallic and any other material. You're literally just looking for that. But you could have really good AI for things within concrete structures because they're all
it's very regular.
Like
regular things.
Stuff like that,
But in utilities, there's so many variables, like what ground types it in, what size the utility, what materials the utility. So
it could be dangerous, really. Because you could have the untrained person saying, "Well, I've GPR'd it."
Well, that's the point.
It's AI. It's found everything for me.
Just because you can push around, you can have a GPR operator that captures data for post processing, and they can do that effectively because they've been taught. They can do basic QA of the data to make sure they're getting good data, positioning is right. But that doesn't mean that they can deliver a full survey or GPR layer in the scheme of a utility or whatever the format of the survey is. It's concrete or any of the other ones. So that's the danger, isn't it, of exposing that kind of.
See, someone that because obviously you sell equipment as well, but for you to say manufacturers need to be careful and they're on a tightrope when they're doing that, I think that's a bit different from the conversations I've had even in the geospatial side as well. There's a lot of automation at the moment, and I do think it is dangerous. And I think there's a lot of stuff that when you go through and you process things, you can improve. And I think we should all be making sure that our end product is the best it can be. There's no point having your traverse at, 15 centimeters out all the way around when you could calculate it all the way down to be millimetric. That would mean all your utilities that you've picked up is off that same control. Everything's improved. I don't think anyone wants it to be as bad as they can, but I know that a lot of things at the moment are sold to be like, I don't know, just press this button and it's automatically just all fine.
I think everyone's all about, we need to, if we save time, that saves money, it saves all this, but then you're at risk of completely diluting skill sets of, like you say, you can just press a button, it does everything, but it's for every bit of equipment. Okay, well, why is it doing it? Like, how is it actually doing it? So the EML locates, like, why are you finding it if you only use that frequency and not this frequency?
That's almost a whole circle, isn't it, of how we go back to the training side. What we're actually trying to achieve as an industry now, going into training, and then manufacturers are making it dumber.
But it's good that people like Tom it's good to be independent from it, because like Screening Eagle, we could do a training course tomorrow, but you're affiliated to a certain product that you're going to try and, whether you consciously or subconsciously do it, you'll be tailoring it towards your product over just actually, this is how you should approach utility mapping or topographic, whatever it is. But by the way, I'm happy to help. But it's good to be not completely in one lane with a product or a company, because you will always take it in your direction, and you will.
That was tricky for us at the outset, because we're very aware. Obviously, we sell a list of products. We're trying to make the training sort of almost autonomous, and the good
separate
thing about
from that.
Yeah. So the good thing about what we're doing is that we're working with a company, the CSTA, Construction Skills Training Academy, that are going to kind of almost hold us accountable internally, you know what I mean, to make sure that we're not flying the flag for one brand over the other. And that's not the intention anyway. If you want training on GPR and you've got a GPR, bring it. It doesn't matter what color it is or which the whole point is to expand the knowledge base. So you can't, it is difficult, because there isn't, the unfortunate thing is that at the minute there isn't an autonomous body out there that has the knowledge base to do the training. So for us, we're kind of like, well, no one's doing it, so someone's got to do it, and that is us.
I think the whole industry needs training throughout.
But I think for like post-processing of the data now, because there's, in the past, if you bought a product from any manufacturer, the post-processing software would be tied to that manufacturer. So if you went on any training course with anyone, it might be that they've only got that post-process. Now there's various products that will take data from any manufacturer for post-process. So it makes it slightly easier for someone like Tom, that if you have got a yellow unit or a red unit or a ProSec unit, whatever it may be, you can still process it and not feel that you're having another product forced upon you, where you can just be like, well, you may not use this software, but you might as well use it for today, because everybody's using it, but it's not linked to any other GPR. So I think it's easier rather than just being confined to one.
Well, hopefully it'll help if everyone's coming out with this bit of training as well, it'll help let's say the rivalry between certain sales companies and businesses as well, I think. Like my recent trip was like great. They're competitors against me, but there's plenty of work out there. But as we were talking to each other, you're kind of bouncing off the same ideas. How I'm going to go up and see a couple of their companies, see how they go through it and how I go through it. There's a lot of things that I can help them with. There's plenty of work. And I think as an industry, we have a little bit of a duty to help each other. I know it's very much at the moment like, I will keep all my secrets and I will go and do my job better than you. And I get that. I get you still need to be good, but as a professional person, I do think you do have a bit of like you should be helping slightly.
Yeah, I think yes, it's a fine line, isn't it? I think as a like business owner, you kind of think, well, hang on a minute, I kind of want my business to do well, but I think you get to a certain point where you're in the industry for a period of time, and you think, hang on a minute, we actually just need to improve things here. So you get yourself going, and then you have that responsibility to share and to upskill or help in any way you can. You know what I mean? So
I think there is a line, but I think it does put you in good light sometimes, is when you've helped someone, they do ring you and they appreciate you, and I think your name goes around a little bit. I've witnessed that myself a little bit, where people have rang up and said, "Oh, I need this advice, or what to do this," and things like that. And people I don't know are ringing and saying, "I need this. Can you help me with post-processing?" Large, big companies are asking me to post-process now and things like that. So it kind of gets around that you can do it and you do it well. So I think a lot of people shouldn't be scared about helping others. I think.
Yeah, you shouldn't be in fear of thinking, I'm strengthening someone. Actually, well, you're enabling people to do more. And then there are people who turn to you. Like you'll end up getting, if you've done a good favour for somebody, the likelihood is if they ever get a job like that come up again, it's too big, they'll probably just subcontract it to you. So you win anyway. It's a strange one, the surveying game. I think everyone's like, it's all a game of top trumps, isn't it? All the time of you inherit a survey. It's like you whether you know you're doing it or not, you're deliberately trying to find a fault. Every stone possible to find something, however minute, but found something different.
Yeah,
and it's
we had it last week.
No, but
we had it last week.
I've had that quite recently.
Yeah, we were like unable to lift on that. Well, he didn't have a shovel, and then did he? Because the shovel got that out quite easily.
Yeah,
lazy fucker. Yeah. That's what you were using it, like their survey as an ultimate stat plan.
Yeah, it was.
And then you kept coming past me again, found another thing they didn't.
Little thing.
Yeah, I think with some of it's
overall good survey. But
some of the false truths that go around, like like with mobile GPS, no TM needed anymore. It's like, well, is that true? I mean, even if you're doing mobile map, you're still traffic calming. No one's whizzing around at 60 mile an hour.
It's just flat out.
No one's doing that. So, or if they are,
I did on the one he hired.
I thought it looked a bit ropey when it came back.
It's all like this.
I think that that's another thing, isn't it? It doesn't the mobile mapping GPR multi-array technology doesn't remove the need for TM at all, because you still need TM to lift your covers and do your EML and the other half of the survey.
But it's funny that the amount I've spoke about this a lot. Like, you lose out on jobs because of that. They say, we don't need TM. This company A is a lot cheaper because they didn't need to put a person in the road to lift the covers. They scanned it all. It's like, how did they get an invert? Like, how did they find the drain that was?
Did they say what's an invert?
Yeah.
Or the comment the other day I had. You lift covers in the UK to trace utilities with a question mark, and I was thinking, do you not? I think you'll probably find a lot more if you lift it.
We'll just scan around and see what we get. Just a lot of unidentified.
Do you know? It's funny though. Someone had bought a multi-array, and they asked me to post-process their sites at a sewage treatment works, and there's a few for Thames Water up in around London area, and they'd sent a couple of the drawings through, and I said, I'm happy to do it, but I need topographic survey control. I said, I need all the EML mapped out. I need everything, site photos, everything to support what it is. I need to know what covers are, so that I'm not just random lines all over my survey. And if I'm finding your electrics or comms or water, then I can upgrade them to B1s and things like this. No, we haven't done any EML. Bought this multi-array. They'd done laser scanning on the site, so I had basically an image, and I literally just had this nearly said the name then, this multi-array that had been sold to this company, and they just gave me the data to look at, and I was thinking, but it's not relevant to anything. I haven't got the covers are just as the GPR's gone over it and things like that, but you haven't done a survey. It doesn't sit on anything. It's all arbitrary.
What the utility is
no. And at a sewage plant, there's pipes. We've done countless over the last year. So many of them. There is pipe and they've got no records of them going. I'm like, there's no statutory plans with it. No. And I said, I don't know if you've been missold a dream here, but trust me, you're not seeing everything on that site.
It's a shame. It's a shame that, because I think I think it's spoken about as a mutual sort of desire amongst the guys that are selling GPR to not missell it. Do you know what I mean? To not say it will see everything and it solves everything else. You don't need to do any other format of survey because you can see everything with GPR. It will see down to 10 meters. I feel like I thought we'd moved past that. Do you know what I mean? And the guys that are selling it are kind of all on the same, you know what I mean? Level of. You
would hope so. Yeah,
the sort of maintaining the integrity of the technology, but I think
there's a lot of people from industry within manufacturers now, like me being one of them, that you think these false truths you would think would have been.
You occasionally get the odd sort of product manager that comes out with something special and they're slightly misinformed about how a survey works, and they kind of need to be told a little bit, and that happens internally. But it's Yeah, I've had a couple of times where I've spoken to, a customer on the phone, or they've rung me and said, someone's just been in to try and sell me a radar, and I go, right, okay. He goes, yeah, he said it can see down to 10 meters. So he goes, okay, yeah, come show me.
Yeah.
And he turns up, and it's some guy from France, I think, trying to sell the one of the yellow ones that's not.
Yeah.
One of the yellow ones. Yeah. I think he was educated by the person that saw him at the site, that actually this guy doesn't know what he's presenting.
No, at all. Have you ever had weird job requests with GPR? Because I had a phone call a while ago. There was a guy, I think it was up near Liverpool or something like that. I'm going to say this is like
a 5-6 media page, didn't they?
It was like a big following, and I think a child had gone missing. And I had a phone call, and they were like, hi, I'm blah, blah, blah. You can search on the news. I've lost whether it was his cousin or his son or something like this. And he was like bad on the phone. I'm like, right. He's like, I see with your GPR, he's got to be in this area. He's got to be in this area. Can you come up and search for the GPR? And I was like, fuck, I don't need to be involved in this. I do.
This is way above where I want to be.
But they had a huge like Facebook like rioting page, basically, where they were going out. It was all against, I think, maybe the police and things like this, and they were going out in huge groups to try and find, because the police were going out, didn't they? Yeah, digger, and like calling up the office constantly. Safe to say, I didn't go.
No, I don't know if I've had any like odd requests for can the radar do this. I mean, you get plenty of like weird ones that come up every now and again with, you'll get some gold is one, actually. Can you use this to find gold? Like, you get the metal detector a lot, and they'll
get that. A lot of people like in touch. Precious metals, they call it. They're like, oh, we want to try and find these things. We want to. Very odd. Truffles comes up a lot. Can we find truffles? Can we find truffles? Here's some data from 2010 where they said they found some truffles. It's like, okay, I mean, yeah.
I've got a dog that can do that.
Yeah, it's not out of the realms of possibility, but it's not really the thing that you want to hang your hat on and say, I'm going to find all your truffles for your business. But yeah, there's this.
Graveyards are a bit of a weird one. I've had a couple in the past where it's like, send them on.
A thing, an application. Yeah, I think the Dan Bigman does that over in America. He does a fair bit of that.
Yeah,
graveyard mapping.
That's what I showed you earlier. There's lots of mass unmarked graves you can find.
You found some, didn't you?
Yeah, I've done some over here, like, around the perimeter of a church, because they wanted to expand the graveyard, but then it's like, well, it's already been expanded. You probably don't know about it, or the wall has changed, that the boundary line's changed over the years. That they're already there, mate. So
it's already been extended.
At the end.
What was that one you showed me earlier? It was in America, I think it was, and it was like
loads. I don't know if you've seen that before. Just a mass burial site. I don't really want to say where it is, but yeah. There's lots of unmarked graves. It's quite alarming how many as well.
Yeah. I don't think they were planned graves. It wasn't a graveyard, was it? It was a.
I think someone created their own.
I don't know. The GPR data is actually really good.
It's fantastic. There is some.
It's great, actually.
There's a university in the US that are using the GS8000 for. They've created their own, so they've buried pigs in human clothes, and they're testing it over time to see how they degrade. It's more for finding people if they have gone missing. So
the police use GPR for that, don't they? The Metropolitan Police, they have GPR. They use it. They use little structural GPR to try and find like devices that shouldn't be there ahead of like big events and things in cavities and walls and things. But they also use it for trying to find people that have gone missing in various parts of the country, if they've got an area to search, see if they can see the disturbance.
The Met Police have got a GS8000 as well, not to keep plugging it, but they've got one. They found some loot from the Hat and Garden job with it.
They found what?
Some of the loot from the Hat and Garden job, yeah.
I didn't know that. I sold a bit.
Did you? Yeah. They wouldn't share the data, because I wanted to see what it looked like, but they wouldn't share the data with us, because obviously they were like, well, it'll be given away.
Go into the precious metals.
There could be some more. I think what they'd done there, I don't know this because this it could be anywhere in the world, but anyway, they'd put it in a drain pipe and then buried a drain pipe.
Really?
Wow.
Sorry if any of the guys.
No, that's good. I'm sure I watched a little. I'm sure we did. Yeah, very good.
Just any pipe I see now.
Yeah,
anywhere around
get that up.
I think archaeological data is always interesting.
Yeah.
I've seen a few data sets from guys that have collected like big data sets. I went to a dealer day for one of the manufacturers that we supply for over in Norway, and they had. We all had to do a presentation on like an interesting project, and one guy, Christophe from France, he presented. He did a survey inside the Notre Dame after it had burnt down. He had to have it on like an automated vehicle to scan the the middle bit where basically they couldn't have anyone stood in the middle because the roof was going to potentially fall in. So they used that to deploy it, and I don't think he found anything particularly interesting in terms of data, but he did another survey for looking for like old Roman settlements, and they found it, and then it turned out to be a Roman city, and he showed the data, and it's like super crisp, like outline of buildings and that. I always think it looks really impressive.
I'd love to do that.
Yeah,
just by off chance, just say I found something, and they just travel dig and.
Yeah. Your data the other day was good at the airport.
Oh, the airport,
so
I did one there. That's
quite big in the wall, I think, Exeter Airport around there. And some of the data around there on the grass was
nice.
A spot. It would have been nicer to do a big area around there, really.
A section, but to make it large, it would have been really cool, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
We did a monastery, was it last year? No, early this year in Bulgaria. And archaeologists had been there, but they've never used radar on it. So we did a bit, found somewhere like the perimeter walls where I thought, it's not overly exciting. You can kind of see where the buildings have fallen down. They'd just go a bit off script and just start scanning elsewhere, and then you start seeing stuff that, not to keep bringing it back to dead bodies, but then you find some.
It's interesting though. It's different from just finding constant water pipe, electric cable.
Like stuff, because it's pipes and cables. We all love that.
But actually, that's what pays the bills.
I saw it at home.
Yeah.
So I was like. It looks like there's probably like a few graves out. They're like, we've dug a few out. I was like, well, maybe when you got your dig season back, you might want to look here and here.
Yeah.
So it's cool to see not just graves, but like things that aren't just a pipe, a cable, or a
found
sinkhole.
A building once where it was the foundations of a building, and I always remember I met him there on a weekend, and it was the tightest road, and I was in a big van. And I got there and I found it for him, and he was just so like the aim of the job was to find the foundations. So I found it for him, and he was so disappointed that I couldn't map the whole thing on the GPR. He was like, he thought I was just going to paint this picture of the foundations, and he thought he was going to pinpoint it all. Yeah, and I'd found the corners for him, and he was just like, "All right, brilliant." And I was like, really, well, what did you expect me to do? It was like buried like 60 years ago or something like that, and I'd found it for him, and he was just like, "Oh, I thought he was going to like paint a whole picture of it all underground," and I was thinking, "Oh no,
things we find it impressive. We're like, you get reading about topography, you're like, oh, this is banging, and then you show someone that's like, let's say Civvy Street, and they don't know radar, and they look at the the topography, and they're like, what is that?
And
I was like, I'm looking at him like, that looks really good.
yeah.
And I actually did find it for him, which was the aim of the job, and he was still not happy. So, but like you said, he thought he was going to see just a house like underneath the ground, or something.
I think one of the clearest ones and the largest finds we had was down at Walwell in the parking area, attenuation tanks down there. That was with your hired contour on the back of the van.
Yeah,
and that was bonkers. That was huge.
Oh, I'll tell you what was good.
It was so clear, wasn't it? On that great
the lawn down on Dawlish for the drainage.
Yeah, that was good as well. Yeah, we've had some real good ones. How do you think about LinkedIn's the powerful world that it is? There's loads of GPRs flying around at the moment on drones.
I was going to bring that up just then, and then I thought,
I did. I don't know. To be sort of compliant to use GPR, it's got to be within a certain level of the ground, right? And a lot of the images that I see of it dangling from the drone, I think, is that at the right level it should be?
Yeah.
So, and then there's the matter of how much signal can you actually get in and out of the ground, effectively without, noise and everything else, which, you can clear up with filters and stuff, but I'm not sold on it. I can understand it for like UXO. You need to deploy it and you don't want to set a bomb off by walking over it if it's that kind of sensitive area. And, it's going to be shallow enough, or you've got low frequency and it's going to pick it up or something. But I
think people get excited, don't they, with drones? They're like, oh, this one's got a big thing. It's got a big payload on this one. We can basically hang anything on this now. And they just tie what they like to it, don't they?
Yes. Yeah.
I'm just a bit. I think I'm cautious with new technology until I see it, and like, you know what I mean. You get a tangible kind of result from it. You can understand whether or not it's going to work. But not sold on that from what I've seen so far.
You've got a license for it though, doesn't it? And this for that.
Yeah, it's the height issue for me. Like, and where are you going to fly it other than like rural areas? Yeah, maybe India.
Not really a great height to be flying a drone either around. It's going to be a big drone as well, isn't it? Carrying that.
Yeah.
Have you had any like standout equipment? So one of the biggest things for us was obviously GNSS, when you could tilt it and you could run around, and it started working under trees a lot more, and you started seeing that everything was become more efficient. And I think laser scanning for measured surveys was a huge thing. GPR, obviously you've probably been in it, 8 years now, 9 years or something like that. But has there ever been like a standout for you where you've just gone like, this has changed today?
I think when array technology was sort of more widely available, I was quite blown away by that, because there's a lot of stuff going on there with an array. We kind of take it for granted now, but multiple channels, you've got the positioning, everything's working in harmony, and then you put it into post-processing software, and it's it's presenting it nicely. I think that's pretty mega. But we've been in that for a while, haven't we, now with array stuff? So
I think it's easy for me to say because the company I work for, but genuinely when they launched some of the Subsurface kit, and I see a real value in it, but when they launched it with FreePath, I thought, wow, like, I'm getting GPR data, but I'm also tracking my position. I'm getting X, Y, and Z data out of my GPR data on site. I'm not doing any. So my post-processing's been not made null and void, but it's been reduced somewhat, because I can make live decisions rather than after hours back in the office or at home decisions. So that's what I've found in recent years. The new array stuff is like, I'm not using that phrase game changing, because
it's changed it for us though. Even for like our post-process side now, it's definitely set us a level above what a standard guy doing push and pull and spraying and things like that. Some of the stuff that we can give clients now,
which is a bit like visualization.
It is.
An array, any within reason, any array. It's pretty impressive. We
can start painting a picture of actually what's under the ground.
Yeah, well, me and Matt's another utilities surveyor. We're having this discussion the other day, because he couldn't cover one area with a certain GPR with the stream we had, and I was like, but the data that you've actually got so far is probably far more than you've got using another GPR. Do you know what I mean? You've covered so much, you've gained so much more data.
You're scanning in one direction and you're still gathering so much more information than just, even if you tried to do a really tight grid, even if it was an M4, but you need to do an even smaller grid spacing to even try and get involved with that. It's one of them. I know it does save a hell of a lot of time.
It does, yeah.
It's not all about time saving. It's about the quality of the data you're getting as well. But if you can do something in a half an hour instead of spending 3 days.
Right,
Day of that chalking out the grid.
I've got a question for you guys.
Yeah.
A couple. What's your, because obviously you're all like multidiscipline surveyors, what's your favourite format of survey? What's your go? Like, if you've got a job card on, you've got like measured building survey, land survey, or utility survey. Which one? If you get to pick your first lad in, what's your go to?
I would probably go for utilities, mainly because I do that majority of the time.
Yeah, pleasing the crowd.
I do like a nice topo.
Yeah.
Hand in hand, topo and utilities quite nice to go with.
Yeah.
Measured build, not so much, but well, it depends what it is, I suppose.
It's a lot of office time, isn't there, when you're doing measured?
Yeah.
That's the one thing. I've never really got that much into measured. I can do it absolutely fine, but it's a lot. I like being outdoors. I think it would be land surveying for me.
Yeah.
I'm just head on. I love doing utilities when I can get head on. What I do like doing is running topo at the same time as utils. So I can keep an eye on the utils being done. But we've just been doing quite a lot of work up in Dorset at the moment. A lot of their framework agreements on the road, but it's like bread and butter topo utils, PAS 128, and they'll let us scale it, and pretty much we'll use multi-array on 95% of all the jobs just because it's 2.5 hours to site. I'm not taking the chance that we miss out. I want to cover everything we can.
If the spec needs it or not, you just flood it. Cause
I'm going to do it, yeah. So I just go up, I'll just blast the topo whilst it's in use, and I'll just jump on the utils as well, and we kind of team effort go up there and do it. It's been nice for us.
Yeah.
Some of the work, I think Josh and Ant have gone such a step ahead now with measured. What we produce with measured surveys is far greater than I think we were ever doing, say, even 5 years ago. So
I rarely do them, and I usually, if I do it, I capture the data and then it's straight to Ant, and you can use that. Thanks.
Yeah, they've been flat out with that.
What's been your most challenging project, do you think? Ooh. And what have you done to sort of overcome it?
So I'll go on in this one. The most challenging for us, I think, is subcontracting work.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say that's just on projects themselves, but we do expect high standard with the stuff that goes out, and we've run a lot of checks through some of the stuff that we send out. And some of the attitudes we've had working with some subcontractors, not to name names and stuff, but just hasn't really met the expectations we've expected. So kind of forcibly been, like, we've just got the jet and unit and CCTV side, and I don't think that was ever our intention to go into drainage CCTV, but we've kind of been forced down that avenue now. It's coming into spec.
Yeah.
I think the spec sheet, go back even when I started, so say, I don't know, like 12, 13 years ago, you would just be asked for a topo survey, and that would be it. A utility surveying company would be asked to do a utility survey, and then you'd have CCTV drainage. So I think now we've got to a position where my tender comes in, topo, measured, PAS 128, CCTV drainage is all within surveying category. So I think you need to move along with the times, and I think you need to keep it as controlled as you can, the quality as good as possible. And I think that's the most challenging project going forward for us at the moment, is anyone that involves all 4 or 5 of them and making sure that it all goes out to the standard we expect, really.
Yeah, you can keep tabs on everything, can't you? Keeping it in-house, subcontracting such a minefield.
It is, because you've got no control. I find, like, if your car breaks down, one of your vans, and you've subcontracted the lads in, you've organised them to be on the site, and their car breaks down for the day, they ring you, and then you've got to ring the client and tell them. The client kind of thinks, is he telling the truth or not? But it's kind of yourself. You can replace the van. It's all in-house. You can keep it nice and tight. We've just done a job, actually, all down Plymouth University, and we had topo, measured, CCTV, full PAS 128 client survey, and it was 4 days done. And it's like, go in, all done. Everyone's working off the same hymn sheet, and it works really well, I think.
It's nice. Yeah, it's good to keep it like that. But we've had some difficulties, haven't we? I think we produced some good standard stuff, and then it was not so much.
You've probably seen the same, though, I think, is when you're selling the unit, now you're selling it with like a GNSS system. Position-wise, utility surveyors never really positioned themselves, did they? Like, they'd spray and mark, and then someone would come along and pick that up, and now you're giving them that opportunity that you spoke about to be able to map their actual positions.
Yeah, exactly. I think you want to empower someone that if somebody else is surveying in your paint and they're not from a utility background, so say if you subcontracting a land surveyor to come in and they're trying to decipher some half dissolved paint because it's in the middle of winter and it's all washed away, it's like, I don't know how you can. It's all about quality, isn't it? And if you can't rely on somebody else to interpret what you're trying to say.
It's actually very even when we pick up our own paint. If I'm picking up Seb's,
on a busy site,
I can do it and I can go through it. But unless you've done it yourself, like you're saying, it's a lot easier.
There's all good and well and having like specifications that should be like clear, concise paint marks, whether they're all in different colours or whether they're in the same, but they're clear and categorised. You add a British well, it could be a summer as well, but British winter into the mix, and you think, the paint's washed away, I'll use some chalk. We've talked about earlier, ripping your knuckles to shreds, trying just to put the chalk mark. So, I think if you can locate and map your own work, and if you have got the ability to do it, most GPRs can be tracked by Total Station, GNSS now.
Pretty much. A whole technical different side to it, isn't it? Mm-hmm. It's a whole different technical side to it as well, though. Yeah. That training is gotten even bigger now. You're teaching people how to read GPR data, but they've got a Total Station tracking them at the same time, so they need to understand that.
There's loads involved. Just in the context of a util survey, it's not bang on about GPR, but everyone, the guys that are asking you lot to do surveys bang on about GPR and they ask for GPR, but it's educating as part of the GPR training that there's more to it than just GPR, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not just pushing the radar around and spraying on the ground, like doing the geospatially positioned surveys where you've got the Total Station and the GPS, but showing people how to get that all to marry up.
Yeah, I think then you need it all to. There's a bit of synergy there, aren't there, with everything? And gone are the days of just being. I've mentioned it this morning. Like when I first started out, it was an optional extra to have the GPR on a utility job. So it would just be, if they didn't want to pay the extra £100 or whatever it was a small amount of money for the day. Oh no, we won't have that. The GPR doesn't find anything anyway. But it wasn't actually the GPR's fault. I mean, they were a bit more limited, 20 years ago, but it was the operative's fault because the operative's just been sold this bit of equipment, and it's like I love locators, made a career out of it, but it's like you're an analog type person trying to get into like a digital world, and it was like that's what I found over the years. I said to you, like pre-2010, speaking to people that were doing it since post-2010, there's a different people approach it differently now, that they want the tech, they want the it's not reinventing the wheel, it's just making your life not only easier, but it's giving you more. So that's all it's about. It's having higher quality data rather than just saying any you could say GPR is useless, anyone, but I don't think it is. It's fundamentally got to be there. If you only go out with an EML tool, you're finding, well, in the UK, you'd be lucky to find 60% of what's in the ground. You've got plastic utilities, you've got fibre optics. You've got your old AC water lines. Knock yourself out, lads. Like, if you want to do that. But the approach should be that you don't remove one, you bring them all together.
Hey, we spoke about that earlier, didn't we? 180 mil polyethylene gas is my enemy. It's like, let's just put medium pressure gas everywhere with no trace wires and we'll just have a great time of it, don't they? They're just like, it's in that field somewhere, go find it. And it's like,
move to Florida in the nice dry climate in the sandy soils and you'll be magic.
God, it's so frustrating. You haven't found the gas. Nice, you try and find the bloody gas.
Yeah, we had that down in Plymouth, didn't we? Based the whole design drawing off of that B4 gas.
Similar though, same what you said about ground conditions though, and weather is a massive dependent on it. Is we went down there with the GPR, didn't we? One time didn't find it, and then we went down another time, different day, different ground conditions, things like that, and then found it. So
weather's a big factor. That if people aren't making, like, you do your survey on a miserable Wednesday and it's been miserable for 3 weeks prior, and then the auditor or whoever goes out, or another company goes out to check your work, and they go 3 months later, midsummer, and they've got the weather's conspired against you, not you're bad. So we always put it on, or I try to influence everyone. Just put what the weather was doing. You don't turn into a weather reporter. Just say that it was heavily saturated ground, or
we have that on our reports, don't we? Now,
we do. always involve the weather in it.
Don't know the technical term for it, but it's arse covering at the end of the day.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
You've got to think somebody's going to pick up my job one day, and I don't want someone going, who's this clown?
Yeah. Why didn't he find the water? And then it just reads like, couldn't find water in water. And basically that's like, fine then. You can just sign it off.
Yeah. It's the training again, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's about educating like many layers of the industry that, well, like when can you deploy GPR? When is it useful? And that's the theory part of it, which just isn't there. Changing the subject quite slightly.
Yeah.
Has anyone got any stories about characters on site? You know, when you're surveying and you get some.
Oh, we've got some, yeah.
some clown from the public rocks up and.
So, Clumpton High Street, we had which
is a place quite local to here.
Yeah, Clumpton High Street, which is a small town. I wouldn't say it's the best town in the world. Not the best town. That's all right. They're far enough away. I think they know. Yeah, I think they know. So, we went in the night to carry out some of the manhole lifting. So it's just dead throughout the night. Go up there, dead silent. We can kind of get through what we need to do. And I kind of pulled up, and admittedly, it was on double yellows on a curb, had lights on, and all I hear is, "You can't fucking park there." And I was like, "Oh, here we go." Turn around, and he's like, some lads just shouting at me, saying like, "You got a bloody."
He said to me about there was some temporary traffic lights set up, and he said, if you don't lock up your traffic lights, I'm going to steal your batteries out the back. And I was like, well, they're not my traffic lights. You want to steal them? It's up to you, mate. If you want to steal batteries.
So he continued to walk down the high street and boot every single door on the way down in car, and basically tell everyone in the whole high street to come out and fight him. Yeah. So he was going on and on and on, and it kind of got to a point, rang the police, and just thought, we need to just. This lad's done some serious damage throughout this high street now. Like, they need someone to come. So we carry on. Hour later, comes back up the high street, like coming at us, giving us some more.
Scary.
So and I said, like, why is the police on there? Rang the police. Nah, nothing.
Yeah, they actually said we told him to go home earlier.
Yeah,
that was the words
that they
guys,
said.
Thanks. Yeah, we actually told him to go home earlier.
The next time we see him, the problem with it is the high street is lit up and the side roads is completely pitch black. So every time he went up a alleyway, it's a real historic place. It's small little alleyways. He just disappeared. So we'd see him and he'd just disappear. I'd be like, Seb, he's down there, look, gone. Come out another alleyway. So the next time we see him, we got the van open, we're down a manhole, and I can see him crossing the road with a bottle in his hand, and he's smashing the bottle to come towards me and Seb. And I said, Seb, he's coming around that van. So the closest thing to me was the crowbar, and Seb picked up a traffic cone, and we're stood at the back of the van waiting for him to come around the corner, thinking he's just going to get his traffic cone straight in the face in a minute. And he disappeared off, and that's when I rang the police. And I just said, like, this is getting ridiculous now. Like, and they said, well, we'll just go back to his address. We know where he is, and we'll try and get rid of him. But it probably went on for about 4 hours of just literally hours
you would
and
go
hours.
And then you'd work, and then
Jerry.
And then you'd just come back
it's so
again.
frustrating. Like trying to do your job, and then towards the end, it was like getting to the point.
Scary though, isn't it? Like, you know what I mean? You're just trying to get on and do your topo or util survey, and you've got some muppet trying to.
Yeah, I've had one where a person, he was really nice to me actually, and then ended up snitching on me, and he just turned, and we were like really fine. We were in a field, and it was Southwest Water had raised, work permit to work in there, and we were allowed to go in.
Mm-hmm.
And we were in there, and we were trying to find this manhole, and the neighbour said, "Oh, you're right, lads," spoke to us for a bit. He jumped in the field with us, told us where the manhole was. We were doing the work and stuff. And then the lady of the field turned up. She wasn't happy that we were in there, but we were allowed in there. And then he said, "Yeah, they've been in that field with the manhole." And I was like, "Well, you've told us where the manhole is. Like, you just helped us." No, they've been in there, lifting it all up, spraying everywhere. And I was thinking, well, you've just told me where the manhole is. Like, you've come in here with us.
I've never seen you before.
Yeah, and I was thinking, you bastard. And it was something to do about bringing down a fowl through this field, and a bloke come out after as well. Well, I'm not getting any money for it. And I was thinking, yeah, because it's not your field, mate. Why would you get any money for it? And then he started joining in the yeah, they've been in our field. And I was thinking, yeah, because you're not getting any money. And then he started snitching on me, and it was just like this little community. They all just ganged up on me and Matt.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've had some characters.
I've had a couple when I've been doing demonstrations and stuff, but nothing to that scale, not yours anyway.
Yeah.
This was a recent one. I was in Essex on site, and it's like sort of a live site demonstration. You get dragged out on these every now and again as a sales company for GPR. They're basically getting you to go out and do the survey for them if they can. I tend to stay away from anything site based where you don't know, like the customer, if you know what I mean. Because I have my fingers burnt. Really anyway, I kind of knew this guy through someone else. Never met him before, so met him on site. It turns out he's trying to find a gas main. Anyway, so I was sort of obliging on site, helping him out a little bit, and we stood there sort of scratching our heads trying to figure out where it was going to be in this verge, and I sort of clock out my left eye, that he's coming down. There's a guy coming down the street on a bicycle, high vis, so sort of notice him, and then I hear the brakes squeak behind, and he stopped directly behind us. We both sort of reluctantly turned round to look at this guy, and he looked at us like for an uncomfortable period of time and didn't say anything. And I sort of looked at the guy I was with, and we were like, this is what's going to go. And he went, the guy on the bike, he went, Putin's a bad man, isn't he? And at that moment, I was like, this is going to be great.
Yeah.
It went on for a bit, and he was talking about war and things. And we were just sort of politely trying to, I was politely, giving him the time of day. But the other geezer we were just sort of turned around and just carried on. I was like, I'm going to.
Yeah, just carry on with it. Yeah.
Not really any. Some lady, this is in the early days of surveying, we were in a housing estate. And she come running out. Not running out. She pulled up at her house. She had a family. Husband was with her. 2 sons, like teenage sons. And she said, "Oh, can you guys help us?" I'm like, yeah. What do you need? "Oh, can you take our TV in our house for us? We just got it from Curry's or wherever it was." I don't really want to come in your house, to be honest. She was, "Oh, we only need it taken up to I think it was like the 2nd or 3rd floor or whatever." I was like, "No,
because his house."
"Oh, my husband's got a bad back." Yeah, it was like on 2nd floor. It was a big townhouse thing. It's like, she says, "My husband's got a terrible back." I was like, "How big's the TV?" She's like, "Oh, 42-inch or whatever it was." I was like, "Well, why don't your sons do it?" And then she goes, "Who do you work for? I'm going to ring your boss and say you're the most unhelpful person."
Not moving a TV.
I was like, "You've got 2 15-year-old sons or whatever."
Yeah.
That's the only person who's really given me any lip. And I was like, "Actually, yeah, do ring him."
Yeah.
And tell him that I'm too busy to help you move your TVs and your sons are doing it for you.
Yeah.
But I've never had anyone try and get physical or...
Oh, yeah.
I attract a lot of physical. I don't know what it is. I must just have one of those faces that are like, fuck, he needs a smack. Because it's like every time I go out, I can recall quite a few.
Actually happens when you and me are together. So
No, I've had
you and me.
a fair few.
When we went to that house and the guy come down the stairs.
Oh yeah, I parked.
I think he just went from the top
survey.
step to the bottom step, just flew down, didn't he?
Banging on the window, get off my drive. Do you know one really funny one? And I thought I just thought I was going to be in so much trouble because I didn't know how I was going to get out of it. I met a guy in the middle of Exeter, and it was to go up, and all it was to price up the roof. And this old guy met me, so posh, and I could not find a parking space, and I was like 2 minutes late. Whingy old fucker, and he was like, "You're fucking late, blah blah." And I was like, "All right, well, let's go up to the roof. Stop fucking moaning." So we went up to the roof, and it took ages to get up there. And as we've gone up the stair, it's like they've made a wooden staircase, and they had like boilers down the side, stuff down the side, and the door for going out onto the roof, you had to duck right down. Well, mate, I've gone out on the roof, I've turned around, he's gone to walk out, and he smacked his head on the top of the brickwork, and he's gone whoa, whoa, like that. He's gone down these stairs, and he's gone off the side of the stairs, and he's between the boiler and the stairs, and he's like folded in half, and he must be 85 years old, 90, and he is screaming. And I'm by myself. I'm thinking, he's dead. Like, he's dead. There's no way he's surviving that. And I'm thinking, I'm stuck. Like, what do I do? It basically looks like I'm stood at the top of the stairs. I've kicked this fucking old bloke down the stairs.
As you were late.
And some lady, someone's come, a lady's come in, and I said we can't. He was screaming about his back. I said we can't move him. We won't be able to move him. And he ended up coming out, and he was luckily he survived. But yeah, that was a weird one. And I would say one more, a bad one I've had was credit and bank. We did work for this guy, and he owed us money, and we said we won't ever do any work for this guy ever again, because it ended up being like he owed us for some measured surveys we did. An architect got us to go and do a measured survey, and he wouldn't disclose who the client was really. It was a bit weird, but we knew the architect. And I was thinking, I know this bloody guy. And I'd kind of found out that he was a bit involved. So I went down did the measured survey, and as I come in, 4 lads have come in, and they are just off their heads, like bad. And they're saying they're buying the top flat and stuff. And as I'd laser scanned, I'd gone down and I'd gone into the bank's cellar. So I had no phone signal. I had a TX6 Trimble, which is like weighs about 4 ton. And I was kind of just stuck. And they started getting real like, measure my dick, like getting real like force, shout, weird and shouting. But like, I was like cornered, and I was thinking with these 4 lads, and I'm thinking, there's no way out. The only way out is basically through these 4 blokes. And they kind of ran upstairs, and I thought, if he's by the gobby one's just going to have to get whacked as he come down the stairs. I'm going to have to just hit him and run. And they moved upstairs, and I managed to grab the TX6 and like basically run outside. I called my mum and said, I'm not surveying anymore. I said, that's it. I said, we're not doing this job. Like, it's over. Like, it's done. There's no way I should be having that in there. No. I've never been in a situation like that where I've been stuck, you know? I actually had no phone signal. I had a laser scanner that was worth a lot of money, and I was just by myself basically against 4 lads. That wasn't a nice situation to be in. No.
Yeah, a few of the guys I've worked with in the past, they've been robbed at like physically physically removed the total station from their hand, or
really
threatened with crowbars. Yeah.
I remember a guy on my course. He was from London, and he said he turned round to like look to see where to move the scanner, and as he turned round, he saw the tripod legs just go into the back of the car. So he ran after the car, and he said the CCTV footage was just him on a car bonnet, just trying to get him driven around. And the police couldn't see the number plate from that side because his legs were just like just covered at the front.
Do you find that with GPR, like obviously the utility side, it's a big thing, isn't it? Like surveying for us, there's so many stories of people having hit necked and
it's becoming more of a thing. I think people have seen that there's the value in it.
It used to be they'd get into the vehicle and they'd see the GPR and not know what that was and just leave it.
They're big and heavy.
I think I don't know if it's through knowledge or they just take it and see what happons. But is
that the reason the GS 8000 box is like 4 times the size of the GPR?
Can't get that through a window.
The thing is though, which is fantastic about that though, if it was stolen, it can be just remotely shut off.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of other bits of kit, if it got stolen today, it could be used in Birmingham or wherever. Not to pick on Birmingham, but it could be used in Birmingham or any other place around the UK or anywhere in the world. It could be used because there's no way of knowing where it is. So, yeah, I think it's becoming more common. I've seen there's an array system that's 75 kilograms in weight has been like removed from vehicles. You think, but who's stolen this? Like the Rock?
Yeah,
like, who this? So, but yeah, I think theft is it's not opportunist. It's it's
planned.
Yeah, it's full on. It's,
it's calculated now, isn't it?
That's their job.
Yeah.
Their job is they know where they are. I mean, we used to think in the past, because we would let the contractor who we were working for know where you're working. That would be part of the thing. You have to say where you are, and then they would seem to be the jobs where all the stuff. So was there an insider? Like your mind plays tricks on you, but you think, total stations, it's crazy how many they
you just don't need to be thinking about that, do you, when you're on site? You know what I mean? You've got potential crazy people trying to get at you. You don't want to also be thinking about
you're trying to just do your job. Yeah, exactly.
It's a real sorry state of affairs, and the police do nothing about it.
They
don't do anything.
Number and
you can track it, and they still won't go to it, even if it's been tracked. You can even say, look, it's within 5 meters of this ping.
I had it in Coventry where I was parked outside a hotel. Won't name the hotel. I could. No, I won't.
Premier Inn by chance. It seems to be every Premier Inn at the moment.
Outside the hotel, and I woke up in the morning, staggered out of bed as you do, went into the bathroom, and I saw a little slip of paper, just passed through the bottom of the door. I thought, I haven't done like a quick checkout or anything. What's going on here? Picked up the paper and it says, we regret to inform you your vehicle was broken into overnight. We didn't want to wake you, blah, blah, blah. And I was thinking, first of all, definitely wake me.
We'll
start with that.
They saw you in the bar.
Mad.
You don't need waking.
Decision that was. Just so
you look really comfortable, so we didn't bother waking you.
The car's open for the rest of the night. Not that there's anything left in it because it's all been nicked. But they and it was an unmarked car. So, and there was no other vehicles broken into. So they'd somehow figured out, well, maybe they're just looking in or whatever. It was a truck actually. So, they could see through the back. But they nicked radar.
Did they?
EML kit, couple of other bits, and but I rang the police and they go, basically, if there's no like blood drawn, then we can't really do anything about it. So, and for the
thing is, do you say the price? Do you say like the price of the equipment? Because surely that's like, you see these things on the news, don't you? Like someone's tried to have their watch stolen, and it's worth $100,000 or something. Well, like your kit's probably worth more than $100,000.
Well, the thing about that is that they've like the Met Police in London and in the cities, they're doing targeted operations to catch these watch thieves, aren't they?
Yeah,
they don't do that for survey kit.
No.
So what? I mean, the survey kit surely what is worth more than what? I suppose it's because it's literally attached to someone's arm, and there's
Yeah.
There will be a physical
construction.
But I mean, going back to the Coventry thing, I was from the time I'd rang the police to me getting to the show that I was exhibiting at, I'd had an email to say the case had been opened, here's the case number, blah, blah, blah. And then by the time I got the other side, it was a text or an email, case closed. And I was thinking, what? Here's your case number for your insurance, off you pop.
Yeah, I've heard that a couple of times now.
Cheers, folks.
Opened it,
real
closed
helpful,
it.
Yeah.
There's someone on that trip that I've just gone away on, and they're saying that they had a college student come, a girl, and she has had I don't know if it was a GNSS or a total station, but she was only 15, 16. She got held at knife point, and they took the equipment off, and they're just saying like how she's never going to come into construction industry ever now. Like probably going to have horrendous mental thoughts every time she's out now. PTSD massively from stuff like that.
That is horrific, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it's all construction equipment, isn't it? People
so
get
on that
hands broken.
Christmas
it's high value and movable. That's the thing.
Yeah. So on that end of the Christmas cheer,
I went to a TSA event and they showed the hot spots of where like equipment theft was, and not unsurprising, London was the main one. Loads of people decide that they don't want to go near it now, like they walk away from it, and then other companies are then like, well, we'll keep doing the work in London, but lo and behold, they're the ones still getting equipment stolen because you're putting yourself in the firing line. I mean, police, if they could do more, equipment could be tracked better, I suppose.
Yeah.
If you could isolate the equipment remotely.
I liked what you said about the process. They could just make it obsolete. Yeah. There's no point nicking something if they just turn it off. So,
I mean, if the word got out there that if other people could do the same, that it's pointless because the resale's nothing. And if I do, and then somebody does try to connect to it, guess what? It pings off where it's being tried to be connected to. So, you can. So, if somebody did try and steal it, they're not going to be able to use it.
Yeah, exactly.
They turn up every now and again. Always do. But yeah, I mean, the big thing for me at the minute is like, even with like mobile GPR, I see a lot of pictures on LinkedIn of the wonky antenna syndrome on the back. They're the ones I've got a catalogue of photos of those.
Yeah.
They're always, I do have a social life outside of GPR, but they're the ones that get me going on a Friday night. When you see it's like they've been scanning, someone's been scanning in central London with a GNSS, you're like, okay, let's see how good your positioning is on that.
Yeah.
Central London.
Yeah.
And then you have to go and get your total station. So
yeah, rather not have it nicked.
Yeah.
So just push it on 4 meter horizontal. We'll be all right. That'll be fine.
Yeah.
That'll be fine for this area, I think. But yeah. Where do you see, just and unless you've got any other questions, but just how do you see like the new generation coming through? Because there's a lot of stuff, obviously, get kids into survey and things like that at the moment. I don't know how well that's doing or things like that, but for utility mapping side, a little bit more physical, isn't it, than that side? So getting that new generation through, how do you see that?
How do you make young people excited about it, do you mean?
Yeah, like just...
The thing is, I think that's an issue, isn't it? Because you hear, I hear, going to see different guys that recruitment's an issue, right? So they get people in, young people, or maybe someone will come off the topo tools, as it were, and try utils, and then they figure out that actually it's not. It's hard, like lifting covers is proper hard work. I don't know. I mean, I think the likes of TSA and other professional bodies and us, we need to work together to yeah.
I had an idea the other day about, and I mentioned it before, and I don't expect it to be as dramatic as it, but do you know, like, always a standout advert is like the Marines. Like, if you watch TV and you watch, like, could it be you in the Marine? I don't know what the slogan is, but it's always really good, that video and things like that, short clips. And I think there's a lot of where we go to schools and we speak to school kids and things like that, but I can remember myself at school, I don't think I would have ever listened to anyone that had come into school to tell me what career was after that. All I ever wanted to do was be a footballer at the end of the day, and that was what I wanted to do. But I remember coming out of the professional football game where I unfortunately didn't make it, and there was a careers day after that, and I was paying attention because I was thinking, I haven't made it as a professional. There's thousands of physically able lads there, and I think the standout table would be like the army recruitment, but I think there's a different avenue a little bit older where we could come out at the end of like colleges or at the end of like sporting programs, where there's a lot of men and women now who are going into full-time football, rugby, sports, universities, things like that, where they come out and they don't know what they're going into.
Where am I going?
Yeah.
I mean, I do think it is a little bit sexier now. Like the equipment, there is a lot more with, like, even like the multi-channel GP. It's cooler now. Like back.
Yeah.
If you were just going out just with your locator and a drainage rod, I mean, it's a hard sell.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just having the access to people though. Like, is it the TS? I mean, TSA.
I suppose getting it out there, isn't it? Like social media, stuff like that. I suppose younger generation, they're just on their phones, aren't they? If you're getting it out there, you're getting stuff out there, what you're doing, they might interest some people, mightn't it?
Yeah,
definitely. So we've got quite a good following, haven't we?
I think your social media is really good.
Social media,
it's just a mix of stuff. The 360 camera thing you're doing, but things like that help. You know what I mean? Because it's a little short clip, and
but it makes it approachable for a younger person than they're just seeing. Got to be careful because I'm turning grey. They're not just seeing a grey-haired man talking physics to them, or like the inner workings of how.
Well, it's a lot of guidance at the moment, isn't it? I think the survey industry is like, well, let's write a 50-page document on the guidance of this, or the guidance of using this bit of equipment, or like things like that. Well, it is like, I can guarantee any toy that my son gets for Christmas, I will not read the manual. There's not a chance. But I'd probably type into YouTube if I can't put it together. Like, so why don't we, that's why I found like videos have been a lot more appealing, especially even with clients, like to understand what I'm doing.
Yeah, definitely.
It's so much easier, isn't it? We're in a scrolling generation, aren't we?
Yeah.
Where we just look at
3 seconds to capture your attention.
Yeah, I mean, we've got that with some of our training videos. There's a YouTube channel for it because, I think a lot of it with...
You're quite a techie company though, aren't you?
Yeah.
You seemed quite...
I think the only thing is like survey industry is very, especially utilities, is very male dominated. There's very few females, and I find with the male side of things, especially young males, I'm not so much in that game anymore, but with young male, there's this pride thing and nobody wants to ask for help. So if there is a YouTube video which they can turn to rather than turn into somebody who say, I need help with how do I set this kit up or how do I do this? So it's tough to try and sell it to kids, but it should be like, the problem is the industry is it's aging.
Yeah.
All the guys that I worked with, they're mid to late 30s, early 40s, like they're all getting to the point now that it's like, do I really want to be going to site every day?
Yeah.
So
I think we need to get into this colleges and stuff, and when they do the careers fairs and things, and have a bit more of a proactive approach on doing that. I'm sure some companies go and do that. But on the whole, the construction guys that are studying that, anyone that's sort of doing engineering, or anything really, a careers fair that's going to have a little short video playing on loop, and a radar and an EML kit, and just get out there and get some interest.
Every day is different, isn't it? We find obviously different sites and stuff, but it's nice. Some days you get out and you're in the middle of nowhere, with some fields or something. It's nice if people like the outdoors. It's not all you have to do with this,
Summertime's amazing in Savannah, I think. There's nothing better than not a freshly ploughed field. It can be absolute torture. But out in the countryside, surveying for them few weeks of summer. But then you are bitching and moaning.
Unless it's
too hot. It's too hot.
Unless it's 2022 and 40 degrees.
It's too hot.
Now we've got the polar opposite, haven't we?
Yeah.
True.
2 days of sun.
Yeah, I think a lot of when I'm trying to think back when it was like 2010 to the time, a lot of the good guys that were over here who you would think I would have trained like the next, they were all sunning it up in Australia. There was like a mass exodus of surveyors that just went over there, saw an opportunity and took it.
Couldn't do that. Oh, the bugs, snakes, stuff like that.
No lifting covers over there would be entertaining, to say the least.
I'd lift
bad with toads, aren't you?
Not sure I fancy that.
No.
I don't know. I don't think they're going to find you on like the 6th floor of the hotel, like when you're staying over for a few days.
Yeah. Well, I suppose. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I didn't see any. I've not seen any of the time down there, but like, I suppose because of surveying and utility surveying and stuff like that in other places, it's not a new thing, but it's probably more newly adopted. That and the way I suppose their infrastructure is not as old as ours. We have really, really old. Like London's just just a lasagna of layers of
it's built on
redundant utilities, whatever. We'll just slap it in. We'll leave that one. We'll just put another one alongside it. Or there's no room in the footpath. We'll just put it all across the road then. Cheers, guys.
Yeah.
I saw a photo of, I think it was New York, that excavated an area, and it was just like Spaghetti Junction. It was just
carnage.
Yeah. I would imagine London's like that. It's just built on top of each other, isn't it? Yeah.
Do you think you'll encourage your kids to get into the surveying game?
I think
the
so.
mantle from you and your mum eventually?
I think so. They're outdoorsy, very outdoorsy, both of them. So I think, I'm open. I'd love it. I love surveying. That's it's passionate for me, and my wife sees it as well. So I think it'll be something that I wouldn't push on them, but I'll try and show them how nice and
Code that.
yeah.
Push that radar.
Yeah.
I got my daughter standing for heating pipes during the school holidays. I was like, well, you can learn something today then.
Yeah.
Get off.
That's
well,
good.
actually, I'll get off your iPad.
Get off your phone.
Straight, here's another one.
So should have probably chosen words better. Yeah, but it's, so she was fascinated by it.
Yeah.
That's good.
But it'd be interesting to see if more females could be encouraged, because it is a grueling job. Like even for any male, lifting a manhole on your own is a hell of a task.
Awkward as well. Yeah. And they're like, you're like step over it weird as well, and it's all
So it's a tough sell, but genuinely, it's really fulfilling, I think, at times. Like some of the things you see, you could never imagine that these things exist. But we used to have strange conversations, just like, because you find things in like huge cycles, like, yeah, that's where I could bury someone.
Yeah.
Like
always goes back to dead bodies.
Yeah.
It's a running theme.
You got something to tell?
Yeah, I'm the surveyor now. Interesting.
What about you guys then? You're children as well. So do you reckon they'd go into it, or you're not?
I wouldn't discourage it.
No.
I'd like to see little May pushing around a radar eventually, and doing surveys and stuff. Yeah, I don't know. You can do what you want now, can't you? I think that's the theme of everything, and I think it should be encouraged. But yeah, I don't know.
Thing is, my partner, she works for a VACX company, so yeah. Sometimes topic they do other things as well, but there's a crossover every now and again in my former job where there would be conversations at home, so maybe subconsciously it's getting dropped into my daughter's head of let's go and dig up
look at the garden. Garden's got massive holes in it. Everywhere.
Got there, just the Henry the Hoover
Written off the dice.
Another one done. That's funny though. You see some of those small VACXs and you think, how on earth, that looks like my vacuum cleaner could do more than what that is on the street. Just no guts to them.
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
Some of the Type A surveys that I showed you some photos earlier. Some of them, like, people ask, why couldn't you locate these things? Like, that's the reason why. Like, someone's just weaved a pipe through in between all these other utilities. It's like there's those regulations of how things should be laid in footpaths, but are they ever followed? No. Like, they say, we've got a full stats pack. Yeah, but this is private land. You get to see where it comes to the boundary, and then it's, the Wild West of how it's been laid once it goes onto the boundary. So
I saw a funny post yesterday on LinkedIn with the paid on meterage. Have you seen that photo where it's like the traffic light cables? They'll go to one box, stuff in as much as they can, carry on the traffic light cables, curl it all up. And this, I thought about it the other day. Someone just commented saying paid by meterage, and I was like, it just clicked to me. I was like, how many jobs I've been to, and it's like full of cables as much as they can.
You're just pulling it all out, aren't you? Trying to
yeah. And then you got to get it back in.
Yeah, you kick it all back in. Gently. I didn't mean to say that.
Responsible for a lot of traffic lights going off.
Why is my internet working?
Because obviously we never lift BT pits. We never had to do those.
No.
We're not allowed to do those.
Not allowed to touch them.
We don't do that.
Never.
No, of course. Yeah.
I spoke to a couple of BT guys the other day. I said, we're not allowed to open the pit, and we haven't opened the pit, but the gas monitor's gone off in the one over there. So do not go in that one, all right? But we haven't been over there.
Someone's left the gas monitor over there.
So just don't go near that one. Yeah, I think they appreciated me telling. Yeah, they appreciated me telling them.
They were going to go down, weren't they?
Yeah, they were like, we won't go over there then. It's fine.
Yeah, that's a strange one. That, like, you would think they would have changed their opinion on having people access their chambers.
Oh yeah,
it's protected in there.
Yeah, it's protecting it.
Yeah, so, I just think you should have a. Even if you just had a license, like you're saying, I'm working in that area, that's absolutely fine. If you damage a cable, it is your fault. That's fine. Yeah, but if you're opening the pits, I think it's fine.
Why don't BT operate like a permit program? If they're that worried, to give permission. So, in order to lift a BT pit cover, you go on like a half-day course or a day course. Whatever, they could be 2 days if they want it 2 days.
Yeah.
I'm sure everyone will get on board with it, and then you've got a ticket to say you can do it. So.
Definitely, yeah.
Probably
I fully agree with that.
Have you put it down correctly, because they don't want to be liable if someone trips on the lip of a
but that's part of the training, isn't it? And then and the onus is not on them, because they've said, well, that individual has had training.
Training how to put the cover down.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's true. It becomes it's a blame culture, isn't it? I mean,
they'd much rather you locate. There's some, so many jobs that if you don't lift the cover, you're not getting the cables. So. No. You need them open.
Or you see where they're maybe connected onto a cable riser that's either come off a pole or a building. You can see that somebody's just located it all the way through the cover. You think, you've not lifted any of those.
No.
And then when you start, well, I would imagine if you started lifting, you would see some of the
tee-offs.
Yeah, see some more coming out.
Yeah,
I think the next 5 years will be interesting, seeing with other things coming into play within the industry of like different things of having a database for records needed, how it works.
Because that's been sort of on the back burner, isn't it? The old asset.
NUAR, is it newer?
I mean, register. I think if you can go to one place and say, right, I just need, utility records for this area, whether you have to put in the, the grid reference or whatever it is.
I hope it's affordable for.
It's going to be coordinated by Ordnance Survey, isn't it?
Yeah, so yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, I just hope it's affordable for everyone. So if you can look through and you can, that even the people like talking about the fencing contractor that is close to us who nearly hit the cable and stuff, like if they can just get a stat pack and it's just one place to go to, and they can just go. It's not the utility locators that will need it. It's a huge industry that needs that. Yeah. So it would be brilliant if it's affordable for everyone to get more people on.
Like HSG 47 rules and stuff. If you're going to break ground, which they technically are, then you have to then also, they're all together. The thing is, I think it's fine for the asset owner drawings. I know they're a guide, they're not fact of like position of them, but I don't know what it'd be like if survey companies start introducing theirs, because if you've got
that'd be a different one.
Where do you regulate the quality? Where you could have the survey done of the same area over a period of maybe 2 years. Nothing's changed, but the surveys have all been done. And then you'll have 3 different surveys. Like, well, which ones?
Different equipment.
You would think the most recent one, because you would think, well, actually, when you look at, nothing's changed in the area. So I don't know how you'd regulate.
You'd only enter the Puma accredited survey.
Let's not go into that.
No, that should be on an individual, I would say. So my politics.
I agree. No, I actually think we should have an accreditation. That's my whole thought, is that the industry does need it. There's a lot of people, not saying the older generation, but it's the people that moan about having to get CSCS cards and things like that. But I do agree on Somerset, but you have to move with the times, and you have to get accreditations as you go through. But it's like, I just feel like the accreditation has come before the training. I think if we get a really nice training schedule for utility surveying and companies, and we're all working off together, then we can all be accredited at the end goal then.
I think if you're accredited, it should be on, something that's PAS 128. It's not mandatory. So why should you get accredited on a practice that isn't mandatory?
It's a guidance, isn't it? Yeah, rather than I see what I mean. Yeah. I
just request a utility survey, and it doesn't have to be to PAS 128.
No.
So, it's I could sit here till Christmas.
Until that. Yeah.
But it's one of them that's a contentious subject within different circles. It's, I just think the person at the top of the tree should understand what they're purchasing, rather than the education should start there, rather, us at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if we don't, we should know.
Yeah.
And most people do know. And I don't think if you're a smaller outfit, you should kind of be seen that you're not the same if you haven't got deep pockets.
Yeah.
It's expensive.
How do we, just go down the rabbit hole of educating the instructing clients?
Yeah.
Like how do we do that?
I think those short clip videos and short client guides where it's easy. So there's like I think the TSA could possibly publish something, but a manual that goes out and it's just basic, like really basic. Like they open the page and it says, I need PAS 128. And it is literally you go to that page and it tells you exactly, like in a small bit, or some short videos that go to that person. So they might understand 15 pages of that manual. They might not know what the 6th page says or something like that. If they can pick and choose what they want, a bit more directive with what people need to learn. Because there's a lot of misunderstanding with like specification sheets and things like that. You go to site and it's like, I need plus 1 mil plus or minus on this field. And you're like, you do not need that. You don't need M4P through that field. You don't need that. So like that little bit of adjustment, they know that they need a utility survey, but what scale do they need? Yeah.
Unless they've been upsold, you need an M4.
I think familiarisation on technology as well for these guys, so they understand what the kit does as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Instead of just having an idea, like the whole GPR survey thing, they understand what all of it does together, what actually is in a utility survey, and what all these different.
Yeah. That'd be good though, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
A training video pack.
Yeah.
A lot of these, the tier 1 contractors have like safety initiative days or whatever they call them. But the survey side of it, which you think, well, that's highly critical.
Do you know what the weirdest thing is though? They always get the people that don't go out on site in these meetings.
Yeah.
And I think Adam Seddon from Green Act said this one time, and he said he turned up and I think it was on a site and he said, I'm telling all of you lot, but the people you're going to go and tell are the ones out there. So why are those lot not in here listening? And I think that's a good point to make, is that you're probably telling the people at the top of the tree who don't pass on the information half the time. So a lot of the people out actually with their hands on the tools aren't getting fed the information that's
yeah, because the ground worker will get given maybe a little snippet of the draw, like you could have done a full survey, but their little area where they're digging a hole or whatever they're doing, they'll get given it and they'll just see, there's a red line on there and it says electric.
Yeah.
But then they don't realise that actually it says it's a B3 or a B4 and it's got slim, like very little or no confidence on the position of it. They're like, to say they dig a bit further over and then they hit it. Electric's probably a bad one because there should be no real reason why you've not found the electric cable if you've got access to it. But say like a water pipe, for instance, like they don't understand. They just see a blue line or a yellow line, whatever colour line it is, and they don't know what a B3 is or a B2 or a B1 or a...
Yeah.
So, yeah, some people I've met who are surveyors don't know either.
No.
Conversation.
Another conversation.
I think we've covered everything. Just want to say a massive thank you for Anthony, Tom, coming down.
Yeah, thanks.
It's a long way down.
Brilliant.
Thanks to brother Sevs standing again next to me. Nice jumper.
Yeah. He's won the half bottle.
And I think by the time this goes out, I hope everyone had a really good Christmas, because
me too.
I think it'll be after.
Happy Easter.
Yeah.